Help me to be quiet when I'm going through my chaos here. 'Cause I really should be patient while I'm going through your process one more time.
Episode 12. For the past couple of days, I've been thinking about the F word, fear. It's something that in the past has come between me and the Lord. Well, I say in the past, but honestly, I'm still dealing with it. I'm just trying to be a quick learner. We know faith and fear cannot live together, they are the complete opposites. But here's the thing, I don't even know what I'm afraid of. It's not like I can pinpoint it and say exactly what I'm fearful of. I've tried to make a list to break it down, but I come up empty every time. None of the things I consider even seem to be the real problem. So I keep feeling like I'm back at square one. I know fear keeps me from opening my mouth. I'm going to be real with y'all. At the beginning of February, to be exact, around February 3rd, 2023, someone made a comment that upset me. They put my name and fear in the same sentence. My first thought, I will slap her. Forgive me, Lord. He's still working on me. Fear? What am I fearful of? She doesn't even know what she's talking about. Not to mention, she's bringing my name into something I have nothing to do with. I was like, see, Lord, this is exactly what I'm talking about. People talking about me when they don't have a clue. But what I should have done was check my defensive meter. As you can see, I was in full defensive mode. That should have been my first clue. Maybe there was some truth to her words. One day I was listening to this podcast and I heard a woman say, if faith comes by hearing, then maybe fear does too. That hit me. It made so much sense. The enemy comes with all his loud, nonsense filled, hot air lies to make me doubt. And our flesh? Oh, it lies too. That's been a huge lesson for me. I can't even trust my own flesh. Shocking, right? Dang, Atlanta, you can't even trust yourself. But it's true. The heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it? Jeremiah 17:9. And if faith comes by hearing, of course the enemy wants to drown out the truth with his deception. Am I the only one who just rolls their eyes at how busy the enemy stays? Like, don't you have something else to do? Then I remember, the thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. John 10:10. That word only sticks out. His only job is to steal, kill, and destroy. So what do you do when your circumstances don't line up with faith? That's been one of my biggest struggles. How do I worship and keep my eyes on God when what I see looks nothing like His promise? Then I learned that praise is a weapon. And I heard another powerful truth. The voice you believe determines what you birth. That one stopped me in my tracks. I was told to apply the word to my situation. But honestly, I keep thinking, how do I do that? Man, did I mention that I feel like the life is being pressed right out of me? And there's that word again, feel. I've wrestled with this question. What do you do when you realize that God is the storm? I went to a prayer retreat and one of the ladies talked about the threshing floor. Y'all, I am tired of the threshing floor. But she asked a question that shook me. Do you want what God can get out of you? Or are you just okay with making it to heaven? I was torn, not even joking. On one hand, I thought, I didn't ask for this. But as I sit here with that thought, I realize, yes, I did. I asked him to show me my purpose. And that was after someone told me, God is birthing something in you. So, of course, I'd want to know what that is, right? But man, this process. The speaker at the retreat explained crushing in 3 ways. 1, grapes to wine, pressed and squeezed to extract the good juice. 2, wheat between rocks, beaten to release tiny grains. Number 3, pearls and oysters, formed from irritation as a defense against something small that causes a wound. Ouch. All of those processes sound awful and painful. But who wouldn't want to be a pearl, right? Still, Father, do I have to go through this? How long will this last? I've been saying that for months. Lord, this fire is too hot. Can you turn it down just a little? Give me a second to breathe. But here's what I finally realized. I haven't been alone in this fire. He's been right there with me, even when I felt like he was silent. And yet, I stopped praying. I stopped seeking. I let the enemy lie to me and convince me of things that weren't true. And I ended up in a dark place, questioning if all of this was real. I had so much hurt because I thought, if he loves me, why does this not feel like love? I definitely didn't feel protected. It felt more like I was thrown away, buried, unworthy. The enemy had been spitting lies at me for months. It's been a rough 6 months. One of the hardest seasons of my life. People keep telling me, what you gain from this will be worth it. I wanted to believe them, but the noise was just so loud. At the start of January 2024, I finally told God, I don't want this anger anymore. Take it. And I did feel better, less angry, but there was still something there. I couldn't fully worship, couldn't fully pray. Something was still standing in between me and God. And after 2 months of wrestling, I finally saw it. Trust. I wanted to fully surrender, but I realized that trust was the wall between me and God. And it's crazy because if this past year and 6 months has taught me anything, it's that I'm not in control. And yet I still struggle to fully trust Him. His word says, God is not a man. He will not lie. God is not a human being. He does not change his mind. What he says he will do, he does. What he promises, he keeps. Numbers 23:19. So why isn't that enough for me? Why can't I just trust that he is who he says he is and that he will do exactly what he says he will do? Honestly, I don't know what full surrender looks like. I don't know what it looks like yet. But I do know it comes down to one question. Just like Sarah in the Bible, have I judged him faithful? As March begins, I feel like I'm finally moving forward. But then life hits with a 1-2 knockout punch. The first blow comes, and for the first time, I hear him so clearly. Either you're going to trust me or you're going to run. I had to choose. I couldn't straddle the fence anymore. I was terrified and confused. But I decided I have to trust him. I have nowhere else to turn. And then came the knockout. If there had been a meter to measure my faith, I feel like it would have been beeping, beep, 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 red alert. The weight of everything was pressing down, and all I could think was, why, Lord? Why? See, I have refined you, though not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. Isaiah 48:10. And right in the middle of all the storms, he hands us this beautiful gift. And I don't even know how to receive it. Have you ever wanted to accept a gift, but at the same time felt unworthy of it? That in your mind starts to tell you that it's not yours and that it'll be taken away, leaving you upset? So you can't fully lean in and praise him for what he's handed you because you didn't even know it was coming? How about this? You didn't even ask for it, or at least didn't feel like you asked for it out loud. Maybe subconsciously, you hoped one day you would receive it, but it wasn't something you were specifically praying for. Maybe it's a hidden desire. I've been thinking about that. Do I have hidden desires deep in my heart? I was given a good example of surrender. Someone told me to put my arms up, like in the freeze position. Then she took her hands and she made a gun with her fingers and she pointed it at me. She said, "This is what you think surrender looks like." Then she took my hands and placed them in front of me, palms up, and said, "This is surrender. It's more about submission. It's willing because you trust him." There's that word again. Trust. I had never even considered that I felt forced. I recently thought about the movie The Color Purple, where she takes the food upstairs and says, "I'm just going to stand back and wait and see what the wall going to look like now." That's how my life feels. I just sit back and see what God's going to do. But I'm not doing it in an exciting, joyful manner. It's more like a spectator, prisoner. It's not a submissive, "Have your way, Lord. Use me for your glory." I feel out of control. I may say, "Have your way, Lord," but it feels like whatever's going to happen will happen because he's going to do what he wants anyway. And for some reason in my mind, it feels like it's in spite of how I feel, almost as if he doesn't care. We all know that that's a lie. Lately, I had this thought. I'm like a Jenga tower. I've built myself up to be who I am with all the things that have happened to me. I stacked my pieces to create this tower, and then I said, Yes, I will serve you, Lord. I didn't realize he was going to begin to pull the pieces out, one by one. In the beginning, it was okay. But now, if he pulls one more piece, I feel like I'm gonna crumble. And now that I have completely fallen, it feels like a hammer is crushing me into tiny pieces. I actually saw this video where a speaker talked about the crushing the Lord will put you through. She took a small vase and dropped it. It broke. Then she actually grabbed a hammer and kept hitting it again and again, breaking it into smaller pieces. I began to cry just watching her crush it. In my soul, that's how I've been feeling in this fire. I know they say he doesn't leave us in the fire. And if I look in the rearview mirror, I can see that to be true, though sometimes it doesn't feel like it. I also have hope in knowing our Father doesn't do it for nothing. Everyone will be salted with fire. Mark 9:49. This season has been very tough, not in the way I would have imagined. I told someone that the miscarriages were nothing compared to this journey. A lot of things have been given to me in puzzle pieces. I call them puzzles because I feel like God hands me a piece and I don't have anything else to put it with. So I have to set it on the shelf and wait for Him to give me another piece that will make sense of the first piece. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes that's exciting, and sometimes it's very scary. This is where patience and faith come in. That same question lingers. Have I deemed him faithful? Have I fully deemed him faithful? Not just in one area, but in my life overall. It's crazy to even think that I question the Most High King. I mean, his record is perfect. He has never failed. So why do I question or doubt him? Has anyone else asked themselves that question? Why do I doubt the one who has a perfect record?